So Christie Sides just can't help herself. She just cannot help herself. It's like at the end of the game, especially when you didn't call a timeout in the third quarter, when I'm not going to blame the game on sides, I'll blame this game on the players as much as anything. When all of this happens and you're still out here, in a way, throwing your player under the bus. Because, look, it's not an easy thing to coach Caitlin Clark. It's not. Really, really not. But you can't do it like this. When things go wrong, you can't publicly call, Chrissy Sides spent the whole year publicly calling out the weaknesses of Caitlin Clark. And in fairness, look, Caitlin Clark has weaknesses as a player. We all know that. Everyone that's been watching this team play, she has quite a few weaknesses as a player. She is far from a perfect player. And that's the one thing that really annoyed me when I would say that. And people were like, oh, she doesn't have any flaws as a player. Yes, she does. She has what could be considered personality flaws when it comes to basketball. And she has flaws in her game. Like, her decision making sometimes is unbelievable, but sometimes she can get a bit carried away. But at the end of the day, I still think she's the second or third best player in the world. Like, no lower than 5. But you have got, right here, you got this, and it says here, Caitlin Clark is painfully honest on costly play. And look, Caitlin Clark is going to be the hardest on herself. We know that. We saw it yesterday. Wasn't specifically asked about it. Honestly, I thought we played really good in the fourth. My turnover transition was what I felt ended the momentum. I just made a really bad read. I thought the girl was going to come over. She never ended up coming over. Clark read Lynx's mind perfectly on the play leading up to her own turnover. Alana Smith dished a bounce past Courtney Williams on the perimeter, and Minnesota guard accordingly a double team. Smith faded to the elbow for a wide open look. Except Clark rotated over, leaped up both arms, and swatted the taller forward shot, then caught it. Like, she had made 3 unbelievable plays in a row. A 3, great assist, and then that. But it was just unfortunate. In that instant, Rookie of the Year flexed her talent. She'd been building about 45 seconds. Lost defending the arc, made a clutch basket. Teammate Aaliyah Boston read her back up the whole way. Clark flapped her arms repeatedly to pump sellout crowd. But yeah, that's where the issue was. It was like she just tried to force it to Temi Fagbenle, but it wasn't even about that with Christie Sides. So after she had gotten 2 free throws, she clapped very loudly, and she obviously checked out of the game. I think, yeah, she got checked out of the game early in the second, and then checked out of the game early in the third. But she was basically taken out because they didn't want to risk a technical foul. And look, I get that. I don't think it was a bad decision to take her out. I actually don't. But she said, right, Christie Sides goes, she's so passionate. When she's upset or mad, we've been working on trying to figure out how to get past those moments. I was worried she was going to pick up a technical, thank goodness she didn't. She's got to learn that in those moments, I need my point guard to have a cool head. If it's not a foul call, you got to get back. And nothing Christie Sides said is wrong. Nothing Christie Sides said is wrong there. But Sides, they came out of the third quarter and they got Jesus. But she also didn't call a timeout. She also didn't call it a timeout because it's and that's where the kind of problem is that I don't think anything Sides did was wrong, but it's you can't just publicly say that about your point guard. You can't just publicly call out your point guard. And by the way, I don't mind her privately doing it. I don't mind her doing what she did. But it's you can't just publicly essentially be our point guard is an attitude problem. Because I do think that there is, it's been like that through Iowa. Caitlin Clark was always like that. But you can't publicly do it after a loss. You just can't. That is, again, let's try to change the topic as much as possible when I let the other team go on a 14-0 run without calling a timeout. I didn't call a timeout in the third quarter where we scored 12 points and conceded 29 points. And when things were going bad, instead of calling a timeout. And that's where the issue was. Why not burn a timeout? She had timeouts to go. She used one with 30 seconds left when they were down 10. Why not burn a timeout and get her to calm down instead of subbing out your best player? And by the way, they immediately hit some buckets right after that. Why not call a timeout when Kelsey Mitchell's losing her mind? Like this right here. She's got to learn to have her cool. To have a cool head. Call a timeout for that. Don't sub off your best player. And then don't go and talk about this in press conference. Like, it is what it is. That's what happened. Like, I don't think she's wrong to get Caitlin to calm down. She was right. I don't think she's wrong about Caitlin Clark at times not having the best attitude in the world. She's right about that. But, like, why would you sub her out instead of calling a timeout and then publicly question her attitude? Like, it was a horrible coaching performance by Christie Sides. And then to go out and just say that, and it's like, oh yeah, she's trying to say it positively. Like, no, this is you trying to be like, well, it's on her, I'm trying. This is you publicly trying to be like, when people are obviously questioning Caitlin Clark's attitude, and I wouldn't be surprised if people are questioning it two sides and sides getting some blame. This is her basically trying to say, I'm trying. And then making a point subbing her out of a game in a game that you were chasing. You were playing badly and you were chasing a game, so what are you going to do? Subbing out the only positive thing that was happening at that stage? In that third quarter, that was the Kelsey Mitchell disaster class. The only positive thing on the floor for you guys at that stage in the game was Caitlin Clark. And you take her out instead of just calling a timeout? I don't know. Like, I've said this even in my videos apologizing to sides. I think there are worse coaches than her. She's just not good though. Like you're never gonna win a championship with Christie Sides. Like, I will say that. You're never gonna win a championship with Christie Sides. Like, it's not on her as a person. She's just not a good enough coach. And like, this is just annoying where it's like, you have had one loss, you went on a 5-game win streak, and in your first loss, you try to throw your best player under the bus in a press conference. And I don't even mind her saying it, where it's like, I understand having to deal with Caitlin Clark can be hard. Like, I understand you actually have to do it. Like, you have to do something. If Caitlin Clark's losing it, you have to either sub her out, or you can just call a timely timeout. You can call a timeout, see how her head is in the timeout. And if by the end of the timeout she's calmed down, leave her in. If she hasn't calmed down, sub her out. Not effectively lose the game. Because in one of the most important stages of the game, you sub out your best player and suddenly you go in down 12 into the fourth. Like, I just don't know. It's like, we've seen the trust Caitlin Clark had for Lisa Bluter. And I don't think there's any scenario that if you are Caitlin Clark, you can trust Christie Sides. I genuinely don't think there is. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. I could be completely off base on this. I just can't see how she would. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.